We're delighted to announce the return of the Office Management Show, which is our twice yearly event taking place on Thursday, the 28th of September in London. I'm so sorry to anybody that listens internationally. I wish I could get you all here, but this is an exhibition and conference that we hold for office management professionals, and we would love for you to be there if you can join us. It takes place throughout the day from 9:30 to 5:30. You can come along at any time, meet with me and the team, connect with other office managers. Maybe there'll be listeners of the pod as well. You might even meet some of our previous podcast guests. Join in on the CPD accredited seminars. Yeah, there's so much to do, so much to grab from the event, to connect, learn and enjoy. So register for your free tickets. More information is at www.theofficemanagementgroup.com/the-show, and we really hope to welcome you then. This is the Office Manager Diaries, a podcast all about the highs and the lows of professionals in office management around the world. We'll delve into their career journeys and diaries, where they'll share their stories, tips for success, and only things office managers understand. Enjoy, and please remember to give us a follow. Hi everybody, it's Hannah Gray back with another episode of the Office Manager Diaries podcast, and we are going a little bit north to me today. We have got Jackie Corbett, who is the Regional Estates Manager at Shoosmiths in Birmingham, on the pod. Hi Jackie.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being on. We were just chatting off air because it's very hot today. This is the week of this crazy heat wave, and it's about 30 degrees, and I'm sitting in my bedroom absolutely sweltering, and Jackie is in a proper professional podcast studio, which we're going to talk about a little bit more later on, I'm sure, with this office move project that Jackie's done. But thank you so much for being on. I'm slightly jealous of your air-conditioned room right now, I have to say.
It is nice and cool in here, yeah.
Yeah, luckily our guests cannot see us on video, certainly not me, because I am a sweaty mess right now. So this is good. It's just audio only. But yeah, thank you so much for giving up your time. And you've just told me you've had a really busy week, so I do very much appreciate it. And the fact that you've only just had a lunch break for the first day today. So straight on in. So you have got a fairly big role there. Can you tell us more about your role and how you got into this profession in the first place, please, Jackie?
Yeah, so the role that I've got here at Shoosmiths, I'm the Regional Estates Manager, so I look after Birmingham and Nottingham. So it's the Midlands, West Midlands. I started off here covering maternity, actually. And as soon as I came here, I thought, right, this is where I want to stay. You know, it's a law firm. The people here are amazing. And I do anything and everything, whether that's, from day to day, looking after people, making sure my team, who I couldn't be without, they do the lion's share of everything. We have clients coming in every day to see our lawyers. So we just make sure that they get the 5-star service. We do all the health and safety, whatever people want, whatever our staff want, we're there to give it to them as best that we can. And it's the fun stuff as well, like Christmas parties, quiz nights, whether it's making sure that we pick the decent pick and mix for the office and the savoury snacks. That's always the important one. And sometimes making sure people are fed, which is actually what brings in it brings people into the office nowadays, especially after COVID.
Yeah, it's that bribing, pick and mix. Tell me more. Is this like a jar that you fill with pick and mix, or is it an actual pick and mix that they can go and pick?
So we have jars of pick and mix. Yeah, so normally we've got 3 jars of pick and mix, and then since moving to 103 where we are now, we decided that lots of people said we love the pick and mix, but it'd be really nice to have savoury. So we have like 3 pick and mix and a couple of like the sweets and then the savoury options as well, which always goes down well. And if people are in the office a lot, then we say to them, right, come and have a look at this, on the website that we book it from. And I'm like, pick your favourite sweets. What do you like? So we make sure that, and people really like that. It's like Christmas comes early to them when they get to pick the sweets.
It's hilarious, isn't it? But I still get excited when I see client offices that I go to, and I'm like, oh, look at your fridge, or wow, look at all these treats you've got. And I was the one that used to arrange all that. But it's a nice incentive, isn't it, to get people in, as you say, and the food.
Yeah,
Food talks to everybody, whether you're a sweet or savory person, you're a vegan or a carnivore or whatever, food talks to
yeah.
everybody. So it is a great way to get people in. So yeah, so how did you get into the profession then, leading on from that?
Well, in my 20s, I started working abroad and I ended up being a nanny. And you're probably thinking, what's that got to do with what I do now? It's very, very similar. You know, looking after people, making sure that they're safe, telling them to tidy up, and organising parties. Only now I'm doing that for 300 lawyers and PAs as opposed to, a family.
I can see where you're going there. It is incredibly similar, isn't it? It's the mum, nanny, daddy of the office still. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And I think you've got to have that caring attitude that I've had in all of those roles. You know, it's very much nurturing. When I came back to the UK when I was about 30, I thought, right, I want an easy 9 to 5, Monday to Friday job, because nannying, you can be up till you can be doing 6 days a week, and quite often you won't finish till quite late. So I thought I want to come back, put some roots here, and just like settle down a bit. And so I started working for a company on their reception, which was great. And it was about 140 people in that office. There was myself and the office manager. There was just the two of us looking after the floor there. So I got to learn quite a bit of her role. She was away quite a lot, so I kind of picked up her role and I kind of learnt on the job. And then she moved on. She moved down south, actually. So then I became the office manager, and it was from pretty much learning on the job, asking people for help when I needed it. If I needed help with like invoices or where to send them, or if I wasn't sure what to do with something, I would pick up the phone to somebody in another office and I'm like, I'm really sorry, how do I do this? That's how I got into it. And then after about 9 years I was there, they had a restructuring. I became regional there, area manager they called it. We all have different, it's one big umbrella with lots of different names, isn't it?
Absolutely. The titles are crazy, aren't they? Because I've been head of facilities, head of operations, office manager, head of office manager, all sorts, but
Yeah.
I'm essentially doing the same thing most of the time.
Yeah, yeah. But I was regional for a while there, and then they did a restructuring, and I chose to take redundancy there. And I thought, right, I'm going to have a little bit of time to see, actually, do I want to do this? Is this something that I really want to do? Do I want to be an office manager, or do I want to do something else? It didn't take me long to realize, actually, this is what I want to do. I love the fact that I can't sit down and finish one job before something or somebody comes over to me. I like the reactive role. I'm very much like that. I think it's part of my personality as well. My concentration span is not the same as those of the lawyers that I see sit and concentrate on papers for hours and hours and hours. I can't do that. I'm like a social butterfly around the office, and I think that's what helps me in the role.
I would absolutely agree. I procrastinate quite a lot. My personality is probably similar to you and maybe most office managers, where
Yeah,
if I have to do a piece of work, like especially if it's client work, I really have to get myself in the brain state to mentally focus on that work. And I will do it, and I've been doing it for years and years, but I need to prepare things like make sure I've got a full glass of water, make sure my phone is on do not disturb so that no one can, make sure my emails are off. I have to set these things so that I can really focus for that hour, 2 hours, or whatever it might be on that task. Because I think, like you, I've been brought up in this office management world where you learn as you go, you learn on the job. I was going to say it's very British of us, isn't it, to pick up the phone to somebody and say, "I'm sorry to ask," but for a lot of international listeners, probably thinking, "Yeah, that's so British to apologize." The Americans would be like, "I need your help," and we're like, "I'm really sorry. Could you help me?" It's such a different approach, but it is that it is trying to find people that you can lean on and that can support you in your role. And
yeah.
you are just, your door is constantly knocked on and you're constantly interrupted in these roles. So I quite like that element as well, where you feel helpful, I think, as well as part of it. Would you agree?
Yes, definitely, definitely. I remember when I chose the redundancy, I thought, right, I was in the middle of moving. Well, I bought a house, chose redundancy, and also booked a holiday in the same week. Um, that was quite a week. I was like, right, okay, I've got a lot going on. And I thought, right, yeah, I'll have a few months off and just smooth everything over with the house move and everything. And then the agency that I was working with that used to get me the roles in the past, they said, oh, this is temp role. And they said, it's not what you normally do. And it was data entry. And I was like, no, it will bore me. And they told me which firm it was. And I was like, okay, I'll go there because I know that they're a good company. I used to fall asleep in the afternoon after I'd had my lunch because it was so boring. But I also, some people love it, don't they? Because they can sit there all day and look at the same thing. But I actually found it was really hard. I found it really difficult to not have people come up to me and tap me on the shoulder saying, have you got this? Or do you know where this is? And I think that helped me realize actually I do want to be bothered all the time. I'll need people. I like being needed and I like being helpful.
It is the trait of office managers. It is that supportive, empathic, go-to person that's the heart and soul. So yeah, I think that's right. But I'm the same as you. It's the monotonous tasks I cannot bear. I love the variety, the diversity, the interaction, like you say, socially, the social butterfly element that you mentioned. Yeah, all of that is what makes the role enjoyable for people like us, I think, and probably a lot of our listeners as well.
Yeah.
So somebody that doesn't know the brand, what are Shoosmiths? You've mentioned that they're lawyers, but what exactly do they do? How do they help people?
So Shoosmiths are a law firm. We've got about 13 offices. They've got many different branches. Our divisions are real estate. So we've got some major companies where we help, like shops and retail the companies secure what they need to secure from a legal perspective. We've got advisory services, so that might be kind of like private clients. We do a bit of medical negligence as well. So as well as businesses, we also do have that branch. Corporate is one of our divisions. They do, so if there's a company that aren't doing so well and they might be going into liquidation, we've got a team that will make sure that the staff get what they should get, and they'll make sure that those transitions are done as fairly as they can be. And then, of course, there's business services, which is us. And we do
Yeah,
all the internal and greeting all the external clients. Yeah.
yeah.
Shoosmiths have won lots of awards, and they're really becoming big in the legal sector. So yeah.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant to see in the growth as well. So you have, let's talk about it while we tap onto that area. You have just completed this amazing office move and fit out. I've seen some photos today that were shared online, and I am desperately trying to get back up to Birmingham and come and see you. But it was an office move and a fit out project. You've mentioned you've got sort of 300 staff there. Tell us about the project and what that was like for you, and also how you manage that in and amongst your day job. Because when we get these projects as office managers, that it's not stop doing that bit of your job and just focus on the project. It's do it all.
Yeah. So it started off 2 years ago, I think, when we went round. It was the hottest day of the year. So it was August, a couple of years ago, hottest day of the year. There were a couple of buildings. This building was still being built, so we were having to wear all the high vis. And there are some fabulous, absolutely fabulous buildings around the Birmingham city centre. So there was some great choices. But as soon as we came to 103, there was the highest office space in Birmingham, which has got amazing views. And it's on the best street in Birmingham. If Colmore Row is the best place to have a business. If you want to be known, if you want to be somebody in Birmingham, then if you want your business to be known, then this is the place to be. As soon as we came to the building, we were like, yeah, that's the one that we want. So I was involved in that from the very start. We then had a couple of businesses tender, three people tender to do the design and build. So following on from that, there was then like a whole year of planning and what we wanted to do. What we actually did was, with the 300 staff, we got cohorts. We asked every single staff member what they liked currently, what they didn't like currently, what they would like to see, and what would entice them back, what's going to make you want to come to the office. We had about 9 pages of that, which we then shared with the designers. We had weekly meetings with them on site, and it just kind of grew from there. And I am happy to say that some of my ideas have been put into the which is really nice, because I was with we've got 2 fabulous heads of office. We've got one who does the external projects and one who does the internal. Both are partners, both are amazing ladies. They really, really are very empowering, which is really nice. Their vision is how this space is. Work-wise and managing-wise, I'm not going to lie, it was exciting. It was a great learning curve. Mentally, sometimes I would wake up in a panic, because especially when it had all been designed and when the teams were on site building, I would wake up and I think, oh, what about this? What if this doesn't work, and what if that doesn't work, or what if I'd forgotten about something and it's all going to be, and it's delayed because of I've forgotten something. I really did have that element of responsibility, and it was such a big thing. The office was updated, like, the office staff were updated on it, and it was a huge responsibility, even though it wasn't my full responsibility. You do feel that, and I think that's part of the office management role as well, isn't it? You feel responsible for everybody else's happiness and safety, so I did have some sleepless nights, and I think over those 2 years I realized that I'd got certain friends that wake up early, so actually they knew that if I messaged them at 6 o'clock in the morning and I just said hey, they knew that I needed to just speak to them on the phone, and they would talk some sense into me, or talk to me about something completely different, or let me talk to them about what was on my mind. So, and I think it's great to do both of that when you're in that situation, when you are having a bit of a panic, to know that there are different ways to cope with it, even in the office as well. Having the team on board. Before the project started, I sat all my team down and I said, what I'm going to be doing now for the next 18 months. We thought it was a year to 18 months. I said, it's going to take me away from a lot of what I do with you guys. I won't be coming into the room as much. I'll still come in, because with my team here, we've got front of house, and we've also got our Reaper graphics room. And I used to go in there and, just make sure that they were okay, which I still did. But I said, I'm not going to be in here as much, and this is going to be the reason why. And sometimes they wouldn't see me for days, or I would be a passing ship. But with their support, that's what carried me through. And also the support of my bosses, who are incredible, and also Alex and Beth, who are our heads of office, who were also very heavily involved in the project. So yeah, getting by with friends, few sleepless nights. I don't think I'm on my own in that, and I think it's very much talked about now, and it's okay to have those moments, and just to realize that actually, they are going to pass. Those moments will pass, that it is a normal reaction to have. I think part of accepting it's okay, it's going to pass. Part of helping me with that was, what's the problem and how am I going to sort it? And sometimes that might be a phone call while I'm in between drying my hair and getting ready to one of the contractors or the project manager on site. I might be having a chat with one of my friends or something like that. Does that make sense?
It's so true, and it takes me back to many projects, be they office moves like internal shuffles, or office moves with a full-blown fit out that I've done. And you're right, like we all have those sleepless nights, and even without that project on, there are moments in probably most people's jobs and roles, but one of those roles, I think anyway, more than any other role, I think, where you wake up in the night and think, have I done this, have I done that, and panic about an email you might have sent because it was last minute and you were stressed and you needed to get a comms out, but there's so many things that I've woken up in the night on over the years in this role. And I think that comes as part of the very nature of the volume of responsibilities you have. You're not just, like you say, the data input or the lawyer. I'm sure lawyers wake up in the middle of the night and think, oh, have I done this enough, taken it far enough or whatever. But it's one focus area that most other people have in their roles, whereas within an office management remit, you have tens, if not hundreds of focus areas. So when you chuck a project into the mix, especially one that, everybody is very emotionally connected to the workplace these days, in that it needs to deliver a service rather than just be a destination, and all these sort of things. It needs to be a destination and deliver a service rather than be a place to turn up every day by habit. So the pressure was well and truly on, and I think that is right. I'm dying to ask though, Jackie, what were the couple of things or so that you, if you're allowed to share with us, that you had the ideas for and they were brought to fruition there?
Yeah. So one of the things I'd seen in a very nice hotel in Birmingham was, once you'd checked in, to the hotel, you got to the floor, you obviously got your pass to get into your room, but it also is a pass to get you through some certain doors. These doors, as you approach them, they automatically open because they had a sensor, and I was like, we've got to have that. We've got to have that. So that was one of the things that I want: glass doors that open when you approach them. We've got that. I'm trying to think what else did I just a few good things that I'd put in place. Oh, so in the building we've got floors 11 and 12 and 20. So 11 and 12 are where our staff predominantly sit, but because the building's so tall, it has 2 lift shafts. So you can't get the normal lift from 11 to 12. You have to take the stairs. So we knocked 7 bells out of between 11 and 12, really, to put our very posh and lovely staircase in, which I can't wait for you to see. I remember saying to my boss, I said, we're not a firm that will make somebody who cannot take the stairs go in the goods lift, or go all the way down to the ground floor, go all the way around to the other side of the building to get up to 1 floor. So we had a lift put in. And that was my idea. I was like, right, we've got to do this. And before I even mentioned it to my boss about that, I thought, this is what we need. I did a bit of research and looked into what we needed, and that's coming. And that's actually, we do have somebody that would need to use that all the time, but also a lot of the PAs, when they're carrying paperwork, love it. They love coming up, and it's good because it's got the glass door, so you can see when people are going up and down. And where I've positioned myself initially, since we've moved in here, when the lift gets up to the 12th floor, it makes a little, like, plays a little melody. So I just kind of like roll back in the chair and I can see who it is. I'm like, all right, how you doing? And it's really nice. It's actually been something it's very, very well used. I didn't think it would be used as much, but also there's a fun element to it as well, because you can see people going down and coming up. So yeah, it's the little things, isn't it, that that amuse people.
And it's so important to highlight that bit on the paperwork as well, because there's a health and safety element with that, the manual handling risk of taking that upstairs and so
Yeah.
on. So it's really important to have it.
There was also as well, what we'd got a few of in our previous office was we'd got the electric desks, the sit-stand desks, which are becoming ever more popular. So we'd got quite a few in the old office, but I said, while we were planning this, I said I want every desk here to be electric, and they are. We've got about 92 desks, so obviously people have to book their desks and everything, but yeah, we've got electric desks and also dual screens on every desk, which is, yeah, it's a must for people now. I think now that they've got that, if they don't have that, it's like, well, I need 2 screens. I do it myself. I can't, once you use 2 screens, it's really difficult not to.
It is, isn't it? You become so much more productive. You really do become so much more productive, I think, with the 2. So thank you for sharing that project. Have you got any tips off the back of that to share with people listening who are embarking on an office move or managing a project such as this one?
Yeah, get lots of notebooks. Only use 1 notebook at a time. Take it everywhere with you. Try and get a decent amount of sleep, because obviously mentally that helps you anyway. It's not always easy, but find different ways, whether that's having some lavender sprayed on your pillow at night. I've found that to be quite useful, and I actually do that every night now. Ask other people about coping mechanisms. Get other people to share their coping mechanisms about how they relax. Make sure you take time for yourself. Throw your heart and soul into it, because it's a this project, the 103 project has been probably it has been the biggest one I've ever done, and the most incredible one. And I have put my heart and soul into it. And every day when I come in now, I look around and I think, wow, we've created this. I was part of that. And it's, yeah, throw your heart and soul into it, work really hard. If there are, obviously you've got, like you mentioned before, about you've still got the day-to-day, make sure you've got an amazing team behind you. Learn to delegate. Remember to check your emails on your mobile phone. Because I was thinking, right now, I'm not going to do it. And I did. I ended up, and I was glad that I did, because otherwise you just don't keep up. And you get email blind, don't you? So yeah, just trying to keep yourself as organised as you can be. Get yourself a decent pair of, what do you call them? The toenail boots.
Oh, the steel toe cap boots.
That's it. Yeah, yeah, a decent pair of them, because if you don't, they're going to rub you. Yeah, you
Yeah.
don't want that when you're walking around the site. And
No.
just learn to enjoy it. If you get ideas in the middle of the night, write them down, because you might not remember them in the morning, and take time to check in with yourself and make sure that you are mentally okay. And another thing that I do, and I have done it for a number of years now, once a month, I make sure that I have one day where I don't do anything. So it might be whether that's I just sit in the house with my cats and watch trash telly, and I don't really speak to many people, and I just mentally chill out. It's good for the soul, I always say, recharging your own batteries. We all make sure that our phone batteries are charged, but we've got to make sure that our batteries are charged as well, because otherwise you can't be on top of your game. And actually, if things don't work out, it's okay. It's not the end of the world.
No, it's not.
The office is still going to go on. If you think, oh no, that was a bit of a mistake, it doesn't matter. It really isn't the end of the world, and things can change, things can be rectified. We're already looking at, even before everybody moved in, my boss and I walked around when everything was ready, and we'd got like a few days before the everybody was invited to the open days to come and start working here officially. We walked round and we said, we know which bits we're going to change first. Probably within 6 months to a year, we'll have swapped these round and we will have changed this bit. And it's having that vision of future proofing. And I think the more you change offices, whether it might be just a desk in desks in the office or an actual office move, you can see the changes that are you can foresee them, can't you? And it's having that, trying to have that vision. But do you know what, overall, enjoy it. That's the main thing. Be creative.
I mean, I've said it before on this podcast. I love an office move. I absolutely love it, whether it's an internal or an external. I just think it's one of the best projects you can get involved in. Like you say, be it creative genes coming out and getting to know everybody and the nuances of the business and seeing visions and things come to life and meeting so many different people through the procurement processes and learning so much. I think it's a really great project to get your hands on in these roles. So thank you for sharing the tips. I spray my pillow every night with lavender now as well because it
Yeah,
helps me sleep. So.
it's great, isn't it?
So we met because of the West Midlands PA Awards. I was a judge on that one for Office Manager of the Year, which you entered for, you were nominated and you won, which, huge congratulations again to you. It was so lovely to see you up on stage collecting your trophy and see you afterwards for a quick cheers. So how was that experience for you and what has it been like since you won, Jackie?
Oh, where do I start? I'll start from the beginning. So I got an email one day to say, you've been nominated. And I was like, what? I had no idea. And I didn't know really I'd heard about the awards, but I'd never really been involved in it or anything. I was like, wow, I've been nominated. And I was so pleased. And I went straight over to the lady who nominated me, Julie. And I was like, oh my gosh. I said, thank you. And I gave her a big hug. And she'd previously been involved in the PA Awards too, so we had a good chat about it. And she said, so I had to do a submission. I had no idea what to put in this submission, so at the time I couldn't talk about 103 because it was all under wraps. It was very much, we were mid-project. There was a lot of things that I couldn't talk about, so I thought, okay, I can't talk about that in depth, but I can say that it's something that I'm involved in. But what we had done in the current office that we were in was we'd taken out about 60 desks, I think it was, and created 2 areas. One ended up being like a roof terrace. So we'd got a bar in there and I'd put up these lights and things like that. And also a rainforest, which was my favourite. During those projects, because those were ones that myself and the head of office, they were like, yep, that's what you can do. This is how much money you can spend. Go for it. So we did, and it was fun. And it was a really fun part to the office. So whilst that was happening, I'd been taking selfies because we got some really funky wallpaper with some animals on it. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to talk about that. And I included the photographs and things, the selfies. And I thought, I'm not sure whether this is what they want, what you want, and I just thought, they're either going to like this or they're going to look at this and go, what on earth is this? And I thought, well, I've got nothing to lose. And this is what I'm doing. So I'm showing, who I am, or what, and it was fun. And then got the then we came to do the panel, which I was really, really excited about. I wasn't nervous because I thought, you know what, it's one thing to be nominated, but it's another thing to get through to the final. So it was I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to go there. I'm just going to enjoy myself. And I was so calm on the day. And I remember saying to my boss, I said, I'm just going to go and enjoy it because I haven't got anything to lose. And this is about me. They want to see me. It's not about a PowerPoint presentation. It's not about how much I know about Excel or Word or that. It's about me. And so I thought, I can go and talk for 10 minutes. I can do that. And I thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyed it. And that's obviously thanks to you as well, because you made me feel so at ease on the day. And I loved it. I really enjoyed it. I did. I did not expect on the evening to work out how it did. So I was utterly shocked, and I was on cloud nine for days. I went to Ibiza. I think I told you, didn't I? I was flying to Ibiza straight after the awards, and I didn't sleep for 44 hours. And I think that was because of the adrenaline of winning of the award. It was just, incredible. And then I came back. I was getting loads of messages on LinkedIn and all of this, because that just went crazy. LinkedIn and social media I felt like a celebrity. I really did. And when I came back, my desk had been decorated, and everybody was saying thank you, not thank you, well done, and all of that, and they still are now. It's bringing up a lot of new opportunities for me, which is brilliant, such as this. I'm so happy to be doing this podcast. It stopped me having that imposter syndrome as well. I thought, do you know what? I've won. It gives you that recognition that lots of people always tell you that you deserve it, but you don't always think that you do yourself. So it's been brilliant.
Yeah, it's lovely to see. And I'm glad you said that you weren't nervous, because a lot of people were coming through nervous, and it's never, to me, a good or a bad thing to be nervous. I think it can help you sometimes with the adrenaline, but you absolutely didn't come across as nervous. You came across actually in just that manner that you presented there to me, which was that you were excited. You were just going to share your story, which is what you did. I remember you talking about the rainforest, and just present the best of you and what you're passionate about, which absolutely came across. And I mean, it was a really tough competition in the sense of all the finalists and all the nominations, but you were, for me, and I think for the other judges on the panel, a clear winner, just more than anything, based on your passion and your knowledge of the role. And it's only the second year that the West Midlands PA Awards have had the office manager category, and I've judged both years, and it's so nice to see that, because we've got our office management awards, which have been going for a few years, but it's nice to see that the wider networks, like, and the regional networks such as the PA Forum and other PA networks like Strategic PA Network are doing theirs, and I'm a judge for their office manager of the year soon. And it's nice to see that broadening, because for years it's been very assistant focused and assistant led in this space. So it's absolutely key, and it's great that assistants are nominating office managers and recognizing the value that we bring, because to me it is very, especially with you, where you've got such a big title of regional estates manager, 2 offices to look after, hundreds of staff, within that, and you're managing people and things. It's entirely different to an assistant role when you carve it out and you look at them. And we know that the roles can be combined, especially in smaller businesses, but when you're looking at a business of your size, it's a very different role to what your legal PAs will be doing there. So it absolutely needs its own platform and separate recognition, and I'm really glad that you got that. And I still can't quite believe when you said to me, I'm going to Ibiza in a few hours. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Now I know you didn't sleep for a very long time, so hopefully you caught up.
I did, yeah. I took the rest of the week off, so I was like, right, because your day becomes your night when you're there. So I have to, made sure I got plenty of rest. But it came at a perfect time, because we'd moved to 103. We'd been in a few months, so everything was settled down. So the awards came at the perfect time. They really, really did.
So now can you share something from your office manager diary, please? You won't believe it but moment, Jackie.
So so I've had to think about this. There's quite a few, but I've decided, I've thought of a few, and there's a bit of a theme. So When we were in our last office, we used to have to do our weekly fire bell test, because there was like 6 floors, and every floor had their own fire bell. It was all obviously connected to the system, but we had to test our own. Each week we would have like 4 of my team go and stand by the doors and check that they opened when we tested the bell. We used to silence our bell so that it didn't disturb anybody, and then main office, like the building one, would be done separately. So we've been doing this for weeks and weeks, well, months really. So my team are doing that. I'm sat at my desk and I'm thinking, just typing away. I'm thinking, I can hear a fire bell going off, but it's not happening on our floor. And then I looked out the window, and the way that the building was built, the fire escape, I could see the fire escape. You could see like there's like windows and everything. And I'm thinking, why is everybody leaving the building apart from us? And I knew straight away. So I ran out. I knew what had happened. So I ran out to where the fire panel was, and my team were just standing there, like looking really shocked. And I think they looked a bit scared. I think they thought I was going to tell them off. I was like, what happened? And they said what they'd done is, instead of pressing one of the fire call points in our demise, they'd pressed the one in the communal area by the lift, which was for everybody. So everybody was cleared out of the building, apart from us, and they were looking at me really scared, and I just burst out laughing, and I was like, you know what, it's lunchtime, it's fine, at least we know what it is. I said, I'm just going to call the building manager so he knows that it's us, and he knows what's happened. And I said, you know what, don't worry, it's lunchtime, it's not raining, at least the rest of the building will get their steps in for the day. And
And they can count that then as their annual test, so you kind of got them
exactly,
further
yeah.
ahead. There's your evacuation drill for the year. You're welcome.
And then there was another time where we had a Christmas party at the Birmingham Council House, which is a fabulous venue. We'd had our meals, we're all dressed up to the nines. I think we were doing black tie that year. Yeah, so we'd had our 3-course dinner. People had been having wine. The bar was open, and then we opened the doors to where the dance floor was. We got a DJ. There were a few people on the dance floor. A few people were sitting, finishing off drinks, or carrying on drinking and having a chat. And then the DJ set off the smoke machine. So that then sent us out of the building, because one of my team that I work with, we were on the dance floor together, and she's like, "Oh, I just started laughing." I think that's another theme as well. Just laugh at it. If you know what it is, just laugh. Sometimes you just have to laugh. And my teammate said, she's like, "Oh no, now everybody's going to go home." And I was like, "No, they won't." I said, "Don't worry." I said, "The people that want to be here." I said, "Yeah, some people will go home because dinner's finished now and they'll be getting the trains." I said, "But the people that want to be here will come back up." And they did. And the good thing about it was we had to stand outside for about 10 or 15 minutes. So people have been drinking, and the air, you know what it's like when you have a few drinks inside and then you go outside and the air hits you. So everybody came in, was a little bit more drunk. So everybody was extra merry, and the bar bill was about £1,000 less than what we normally pay. And then the third final, you'll never believe it, was when we secured 103 Colmore Row. It was a blank canvas, so we decided to invite the staff, or the 300 staff, to 103 to see our space before we started putting all the work into it, and all the building it basically. So we went all out as much as we could, considering there wasn't really much electricity or anything. So we got a harpist. We had like a big screen, and Alex and Beth, our head of offices, did a presentation. We had canapes, prosecco, all that. We had to do it in 2 sessions. So the first session went fine. The second session was going great. And then guess what happened? Fire bell went off. It was nothing to do with us, but then everybody had to leave 20 flights of stairs. 20 flights of stairs. Yeah. But
Welcome to the building.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So unfortunately for me, we had a few people. I'd already done the evacuation plans for people. I knew who would need one. And I thought, right, you have to take this seriously. So we'd got everything in place. People knew where they had to go. Unfortunately, I had to stay with them, with the people up on the 20th floor. And we were right by the canapes. So, while everybody else was turfing out, we were there having the little canapes. And we just took them back to the office that we were in, and carried on the party there. But we always say there's if there's not, it's not a Shoosmiths party if there's not a fire drill.
It definitely seems like that's your theme now, doesn't it? So yeah, as you said,
Well, I say it happens in threes, so hopefully,
hopefully you're done.
hopefully that's it. Yeah, and we've got the same DJ in the same place this year for our Christmas party, so he knows not to bring his smoke machine.
And hopefully you've done an evacuation already there, or you've got some plans that everybody knows what they're doing, and your team don't have to hopefully test it, and it's all down to the building in that new building and everything else. So
Exactly, it's all state of the art here, actually. So yeah,
the latest artificial intelligence and all that jazz, I would imagine, if it's a new build. So
yeah.
brilliant. So what would you say have been some of your biggest challenges to tackle to date in your office management, facilities management career, and how did you overcome them?
I'd say biggest challenges would be time management, getting everything done in the time. And I think I've learned that sometimes you can't always do that. And it's about, I think, to alleviate that, I sometimes work late. That's absolutely fine. I think in this role at this level, you have to be prepared to put in the hours. I'm lucky enough that I'm not expected to do them and not get those hours back. So I know that if I'm working late, that's absolutely fine, because I might go and have my hair done on the Friday afternoon. So it's important to make sure that you take that time back. Delegating is another good way to make sure that all of these to-do lists that you've got, I write down my to-do list and I'll say, right, yeah, I've got this. And sometimes that to-do list is not on a little notepad. It's on a massive, great big whiteboard, which I had to do with 103, because I thought, right, if I don't, I've got so much going on. A whiteboard is actually really good sometimes, because you've got that much going on. And if it's in one big sheet, or on one big board, you can see everything. Whereas sometimes if you got it on in a notebook, you forget about it, don't you? So I think, yeah, having that to-do list in front of your face is actually really and I'm not the only one to do this. My friend is addicted to her whiteboard, and and I think that really helps, making sure that you are delegating the right things to the right people, and asking for help. If you're not sure about something, ask for that help.
Yeah, really important. I think that's an element in terms of confidence as well. I think you get as you go through your career, the asking for help piece, but also knowing what tools work for you and what doesn't. Like I've talked about it before, I'm a huge to-do list person, and the only thing that's ever made me come away from pen and paper is Microsoft To Do, which is essentially a notepad in an app that I can get on my phone and everything, and it makes a ping and it still crosses it out when you finish the tasks and saves the tasks. If you want to bring it back, you can do recurring. It's also, but it's the only thing that's ever taken me away from pen and paper, because I've always very much been that sort of person. So you have to understand what works for you, because there are huge challenges and obstacles to overcome in these roles. So yeah.
With the asking for help, I think I always used to think that people, not necessarily myself, but I think people sometimes think that if you're asking for help, that's a negative thing. But actually, being able to ask for help is a real positive thing for you to be able to do. Because if you don't ask for help, it's just it can become all encompassing. Asking
Yeah.
for help is a positive thing to be able to do.
Yeah, it's overwhelming, isn't it? And actually sometimes when you ask for help and do the more what might seem more courageous thing to say, I'm struggling, you are putting yourself first. And if you don't do that, which leads us on to one of my other questions later on, but if you don't do that in these roles especially, and we are yes people very much, and like you say, you don't
Yeah,
delegate effectively.
yeah.
Even if you don't have people that you manage, you can still delegate things effectively and push back and say no, and there's all sorts of ways, and it's having the confidence to do that. So yeah, absolutely agree.
Yeah.
I'm back with another tip this week, and this one is a popular one, especially when it comes to us doing seminars and talking about it in the Office Manager course. This is about saying no. In our roles as office managers, we are the go-to person, and it is very much a part of our job to be that go-to person, to be that jack of all and master of some, and to have everybody come to us as the source of knowledge in the company and as the source of knowledge in terms of resources and getting people the help that they need to let them get on and do the jobs that they need to do. But sometimes that can be overwhelming. Sometimes it can add to our already never ending to do list. And sometimes it really just isn't our job. And it's something that people can do themselves, or they can go to other people it. So if you're in a position where you're finding that you find it difficult to say no, there are other ways to say it without actually even ever uttering the word no. One of the ways is show them how to do it themselves. So, a classic example that I've got to share with you here is printers. And although we don't tend to print that much anymore, you might be in a law firm where printing is still very much a thing, or in a research department where it's still very much a thing because people are creating pitch books. And it might be that you actually encourage and ask all staff to change toners or deal with misfeeds themselves, and you put the toners and the instructions right there on the printers, but still you get the staff coming to you or messaging you saying, that printer has misfed, that printer's run out of ink, can you change it? I would go to that member of staff and very politely say, oh, I'd love to help you. Is it okay if I show you how to do it yourself? Because we ask everybody to do that in the company. And you walk them through the process. You show them where the guide is if you've got it near the printer or on the internet or whatever. Those kind of things, again, they might be struggling with expenses or whatever else it might be. Let me give you some time. The investment will be worth it, and I will show you how to do it for yourself. And if you ever need any help, you get stuck, come to me or go to the other department or this particular person, whoever should be better placed to deal with the support for them so that they can do it themselves. Take into account with that everybody's different learning styles. So some people like to be shown how to do it. Some people like to actually do it themselves while you're walking them through it. So almost ask them, would you like me to show you how to do it? Or would you like me to talk you through how to do it and you do it whilst I'm talking you through it? Because some people like to learn by doing, which is how I best learn. Introduce them to the right contact, email or walking them over to that person or transferring their call, whatever it is, doing an app message on Slack, whatever it is the best approach to take here, rather than just saying, oh, Hannah Gray does it over there. Take them over and say, hey, Hannah, so and so needs help with this. Is it okay if I leave them with you and, say, see you later, Fred, or whatever it might be? We've all had it where we've been on the phone to call centres and you get transferred from one department to the other. And, with Sky, let's say, I want to cancel my Sky Cinema because I want to save some money this month. So can I cancel and downgrade and get rid of Sky Cinema? So they then put you through to that department. And then they'll say, oh, how can I help you today? And you explain, oh, I need to cancel Sky Cinema. And they say, oh, well, actually, you're in the different department because you've got a special offer. I'm going to put you through to someone else. And then they put you through and say, how can I help today, Miss Gray? And you say, for the third time, I would like to cancel this. And it's really frustrating when you have to go to somebody and you've explained what you need, and then the person on the phone doesn't help you transfer that message to the next person along. So you then have to explain yourself again and again. It's the same thing. So take them over, do an instruction email and give them the information that you have received from the person that's coming to you for help, so that they don't have to explain it again and they could just add to that narrative if they need to. Give them the resources proactively if possible, or at the time, to discover themselves how to do it. So this might be things like Wi-Fi codes. Think about the common questions that you're asked in your office by people. How can you proactively change that from being a question that people come to you for, where you are furnishing them with the information up front? You might do it, for example, at induction training. You might do it by having notices around the office, or Wi-Fi codes on tables, or on the intranet, or on an FAQs piece on your intranet or on your Slack group or whatever it might be. You can get lots of Autobot responses in offices on Slack and things now as well that can answer those common questions for you. So think about how you can turn the tables proactively. It's really important to take them far enough to help them, but not to do it and say that I can do it potentially, but it will be done on or by. So if someone's asking you to do something and it's adding pressure, it's not really your job to do it, it's not really something that's part of your day-to-day, but you still want to help, particularly if they're a senior member of staff, it might be a case of you saying, yeah, I'm absolutely happy to do it, however, I won't be able to get to it until this point, this day, this time. Is that okay for you? And they then have the option to say, oh, no, it's fine. I need it done soon. And that's why I'll take it away from and do it myself, or ask someone else, whatever else it might be. If they put the pressure back on you in those instances, you may have to rationalize to them as to why you don't have time and that you don't need to go into great detail. But these other things are really important and that will have to take priority. So if they want you to do it, this is the time frame that you can commit to, and you'll get to it sooner if you can. I hope that helps on pushing back and saying no. What do you enjoy going from the challenges now to
what pulls you and keeps you in this role? We've mentioned already about, having the same thing to do day in, day out is just not for you. So what do you enjoy the most about the office management position, and why?
As I said before, I like the fact that everything's different. Every day is a challenge. You just don't know what's going to happen. Like yesterday, for example, just about to meet somebody who'd come to 103, and then I got a call saying there's a leak. There's water dripping out of the ceiling. So I was like, right, okay. And that was at the same time that I was supposed to meet. So you've got to, it's the multitasking and the running about and having all those plates to spin. I just really enjoy that, and also making people happy and putting smiles on people's faces. If somebody wants something, we're able to do that. We're able to make sure that we can do that, whatever way that might, whether that is having, the right coffee, their favorite pick and mix, finding out a parking space for them. Quite often it's the little things. And I'm very lucky that at Shoosmiths they do allow the estates team to do that. Our internal staff are our clients too. That's a good way to look at the people that you work with. They're our clients, our internal clients. And I just like the fact that when everybody comes into the office, they have a smile on their face. And even if they haven't, by the time they've finished having a conversation with me, they normally go away with a smile on their face, whether that's because I've given them what they want or just told them a really rubbish joke.
I'm tempted to hear a rubbish joke, I've got to say.
I can tell you one if you like.
Go on. If you've got one ready, I can tell you a rubbish joke.
How'd you get Pikachu on a bus?
Oh, I don't know. How do you get Pikachu on a bus?
Pokemon. What's yours then?
What did one dinner plate say to the other?
I don't know.
Dinner's on me. It's my son's favourite joke. Yeah, it's like when he was really little, he's like, "Mum, do you know any jokes?" I was like, "Oh, I had to Google it because I'm really rubbish at remembering jokes." And it's the one and only joke I can remember because we often have it come up again. Mum, what's that joke? So there you are. There's a twist in the pod we didn't expect today. It's funny because when you were saying earlier about the fact that you'd messaged your friends and they were there for you, there was a song that came to my mind because I think you said the lyrics from the song and I can't remember what it was now, but it's "You've got a friend in me" or so. I can't remember, but it's one of those songs. So to finish on, how do you ensure, with everything we've talked about, and you've talked about this a little bit already, but let's expand on it. How do you ensure that you balance everything you do within your personal and professional life? We've got Mental Health Awareness Month around the corner now, and this topic has come up so much in this podcast about the fact that office managers are constantly, we've talked about it already today, Jackie, putting other people first, not taking care of ourselves as a priority. So how do you manage that and make time for you?
What I do is if I need to stay in the office late to work, then I will do that. But then when I go home, I don't switch on my laptop. I'll take my laptop home with me just in case something happens and I can't get into work, or something big happens. Then I've got my laptop to hand, but I don't switch it on. I leave it in my bag. And I have that time to myself when I get home. I think that's why I enjoy coming into the office. I'm in the office a lot, 100% of the time, really, because when I go home, that is my time, and mentally I can make there is that distance between work. Sometimes it can be having a natter with a friend just about the day's events, and it's good to get kind of feedback from them or ideas, and that kind of makes you feel better, if you get what I mean. Making time for friends and family, especially over the weekend, and also, like I mentioned before, having that one day a month where I don't do anything. It could be pottering around the house, having a nice long bath, doing nothing, playing a game on my phone all day, or watching some rubbish on Netflix, or just lying there fussing my cats. There's something that is just for me and not for anybody else. I also relax by spending time with my great nieces and nephews who are 8, 5 and 1. So that just takes you completely out of the office role, and it makes you completely forget about it. And I actually, once I've spent, when I've spent the weekend with them and other family members, I feel more invigorated, just as invigorated as I do when I have those kind of days off. So I think my balance is having a variety, doing things at the weekend. Yeah.
And squeeze them in and try and turn that phone off if you can.
Yep.
If only I just need to invent duplicating, like a clone machine is the word I'm looking for, not a duplicating machine. And then we could all just duplicate ourselves just for holidays, pop our clone into the office, we go and switch off, and then we put the clone back in a box somewhere so it doesn't go crazy. But yeah, we need those, don't we, in these roles?
Yeah, yeah. But actually, that's a good thing you mentioned about putting things in a box. Because sometimes if something's really bothering you, sometimes I'll go home and I'll go and stand in my garden, and work will still be going round and round in my head, and I will mentally say to myself, put that in a box now, forget about it, you're home, now's your time to relax. And I do find myself telling myself, that's the day stuff, forget about it now, think about it when you wake up tomorrow, and you'll get a clearer. Sometimes it's good to think about, like I always say, sleep on things. Sometimes you have to sleep on things, don't you? So it's about actually being quite strict with yourself sometimes, actually, as a coping mechanism too. Saying, right, stick that in a box till tomorrow, forget about that, put Friends on the TV, and just...
The control of our minds is so powerful. I actually gave some friends some advice at the start of the summer. She was going away to see some family, and all a bit sort of tricky as these things can be sometimes, and very worried about seeing certain members and stuff that she'd not seen for a while. And I said, just put all of that expectation and that negative thought that you've got in a box, pack it away, because if it comes out, it's you that's kind of brought it out. So put it in a box. If someone else brings it out, fine, deal with the situation then, but you've got to try and pack all of that emotion away to get through this time, and then come back hopefully having had a good and stress-free time catching up with family. So yeah, it's really powerful to use your mind as much as you can, I think, to visualize what you can and can't cope with. And I have to do it sometimes. I've had an awful lot going on this year, and I have to say to myself, especially if I'm going to sleep, not now, Hannah. My therapist actually gave me some really good advice, which was, don't let these thoughts get in your head and don't give them airtime at night. Because if someone brought you a basket of washing in the middle of the night and said, do this, would you do it? You would say no. So treat it in the same way, where if any of these thoughts, be it work, be it, personal stuff going on, come to you at night, you visualize it and say, no, I'm not giving this space right now. I'm going to put it back in the basket and I'm going to do it tomorrow, sort of thing. So there are some powerful tips we can use.
And also to remember that everything always looks a bit better in the morning. So while something might be really bothering you, things as well, probably another tip is, don't take things personally. And sometimes you can go and be, you can go home and be annoyed about something, or, feel, whatever it might be. You can guarantee it's not going to feel as bad the next morning. So it is really important to put it in that box, because then sometimes you need to have your emotion taken out of things, don't you? And
I would agree. Well, Jackie, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for being a guest on the Office Manager Diaries. I've loved to chat to you and get to know you a lot better, and hear your stories and your interest and insights there. So thank you.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be invited. And you'll have to come and visit the office soon.
I absolutely will. As soon as I'm back in Birmingham, I'm coming. Thank you.
This episode is sponsored by the Office Management Portal, our free online membership platform aimed at connecting, supporting and empowering office managers in a simple-to-use, all-in-one self-service resource. You can sign up right now at www.theofficemanagementportal.com and click the sign up button in the top right. If you want to upgrade your account to our premium membership at any time for unlimited downloadable templates and monthly expert masterclasses, use the code THEOMD for 25% off. That's THEOMD for Office Manager Diaries for 25% off. Thank you for listening.